Yes, I'm back. And right now I'm talking about this book that I recently ordered. It just came in the mail. I didn't finish it all the way, by the way. I mentioned this in several of my previous videos. The book is this. I don't know if y'all can hold up. There we go. Black Labor, White Wealth. Written by the brilliant brother, Dr. Claude Anderson. Now, I'm gonna read to y'all just a little bit of what I read so far in the first chapter. It says, 3 decades ago, after the civil rights movement transformed the nation, why is the black community dissatisfied? Why have they rioted, destroyed their own neighborhood? Why is this the problem? The activist cocked his head, and in his voice mixed with anger and indignation responded, "Surely the gains of the civil rights movement in the 60s were important, but they turned out to be superficial and largely symbolic." Remember that symbolic word, what I told y'all about that before, how the white supremacists play con games with us because they know black people love symbolism. Continuing, we could sit at the lunch counter and vote, but economically, civil rights gains took more from us than they gave. Some blacks got important, big paying jobs in white businesses or government. And tokenism, a lot of coon ass Negroes who people don't like to talk about, who shitted on the civil rights movement and left niggas behind because Massa offered them extra butter biscuits. So they took that and said, "Fuck you, Negroes. But I'm going to still act like I'm fighting with you, but I'm really not." Cough, cough, Al Sharpton. Cough, cough, Jesse Jackson. Let's continue. So we have our Colin Powers and Oprahs, but the black masses were left behind. See, that's taking the cream off the crop. That's why you hear these suspected white supremacists and these white supremacists, "Oh, why are you blacks complaining? You got Obama, Oprah, Michael Jordan. Look, those black people are doing well. So you have no excuses." That's y'all taking the the soft, nice looking cookies, but leaving all the burnt ones in the corner or throwing them in the trash. We talking about black people collectively, not individuals. See, I don't like picking and choosing and favoritism. You're not just going to favor a Nat Turner because he's articulate, show him around, but all the rest of the slaves get whipped and beat and tortured. But Nat gets special privilege. He still gonna get his licks, but he gets special privileges. See, we not into that. Continuing. So, you see, integration came at the expense of the black community. Now things are worse than ever. We have more killings and crime, more school dropouts and drug users. Integration killed our communities. We have no black economic structure. To solve the problems of our community, our black churches and families are weak and struggling. We have yet to gain control of our communities and our destinies. The Vietnamese, the Korean, Indians, Iranians, and Mexicans are putting up profitable businesses in our neighborhoods, and we are still hopeless, vulnerable to ever danger. From police brutality to violence and poverty, the next time we go to Supreme Court, instead of integration, maybe we should seek separate but equal. The white newscaster forced a smile and said, "But will all the civil rights laws and blacks who have been elected to public office, surely things are better for blacks? What happened to the dream Dr. King smoked so eloquently more than 20 years ago?" Okay. If y'all love the king so much, why did y'all kill him? There's a book that I'm going to order soon called The Plot to Kill King. Mr. J. Edgar Hoover and the government all had their hands in his assassination. Let's continue that. The activist shook his head and walked away at the home, waiting for the interview to appear on the evening news. He tried to explain the causes of black people's pain, confusion, and disappointment and anger. He cursed himself for not talking about black people's tiredness, how tired they are being the world's underdog. Even so, he hoped the world would be watched and listened as the riot coverage aired on television, and he saw close-up shots and faces of distressed black looting scrambled in the black background. He heard an elected official saying now he was time for healing and coming together among blacks and whites. He watched, but the interview never aired. The words of the reporter played again and again in his head. Surely things are better for black. Let's skip a little bit. It says, nevertheless, the solution to these black errors addresses only the symptoms. Afflicting black America, not the causes. The root of the problem within black America is not teenage pregnancy, not drugs, not the decline in the family values, anger, rap music, unemployment, or even the epidemic of violent crimes. These are only symptoms of the deeper problem. The root problem in the black community across the race is, excuse me, hold up. Sorry, but I lost where I was reading. The root problem in the black communities across America is race and the unjust distribution of our nation's wealth, power, and resources. Like I told y'all before, black people collectively, we always get denied wealth. We try to get business loans, we always get denied because we are in a system of white supremacy. But let's continue. One race, the descendants of white Europeans seemingly has checkmated blacks' efforts to improve themselves. Whites live in privileged conditions with nearly 100% of ownership and control of the nation's wealth, power, businesses, and all levels of government support and resources. White society has a monopoly of ownership and control. The monopoly of control resulted directly from centuries of abusive exploitation and pauperization of the labor of darker race black Americans of African descent. Though black Americans reside in the richest nations on the earth, their standards of living is comparable to that of a third world country. Blacks own and control less than 2% of the wealth and power resources of the nation, so they have little control of their lives and the conditions in which they are focused to live. Both the disparity between white and black living conditions are inequitable. Accumulations of resources are century-old problems. They are a major legacy of particular institutions called slavery. It was that social system that a white patriarch society consigned blacks to live in the most inhumane conditions doing the harshest labor without just compensation. The dominant white society felt that by stripping black slaves of his humanity, all his worldly possessions and personal freedom, and keeping the hopeless that blacks would be forever my bad, I thought something was scrolling. Where was I at? Non-competitive and powerless. Needless to say, the dominant society experienced in social engineering work. The living conditions of the people enslaved or free tend to reflect their status and power within the larger condition. Conditions in the black America is no more or less than what was planned for the centuries ago. Solomon North, a free black who was kidnapped into slavery but later escaped, described the living standards of slaves in 1841 as befitting beasts of the field. He wrote about extraordinarily dehumanizing conditions that stripped slaves of their individuality, their labor, and often lives. Slaves lived in damp, dark cabins, and their worldly possessions consist of few rags. A small board and a stick of wood served as their beds and pillows. They were no physical, financial, nor psychological comfort for them. And worst of all, the slaves were intentionally kept without hope. Now I'm gonna just pause right there because I don't want this video to get too long. Like I said, that was just half of the first chapter. I'm almost done with the first chapter. It's a great book. It's very inspiring. It's very enlightening. And I think all my Melanoid brothers and sisters who are listening to this video, you should pick this book up. It's easily obtainable. You can just go on Amazon. I think it was like 20 some bucks. It's like $25 after shipping and handling. Don't be complaining about the damn price neither. You spend $20 on dumb shit. So you spending over $20 on some shit that can change your life. You should definitely make that investment. Especially because the brother's black. You always support your black brother. But real quick before I end this video, I was having a conversation with this European. He's a suspected white supremacist because he voted for Trump. And he tries to use that talking point, well, I'm not racist, my girlfriend's black. Bullshit. It's because you have a plantation fetish doesn't mean you're racist. But we were talking, he was telling me how, yeah, there's white racism, but we don't live in a system of white supremacy. He's just one of those white supremacist deniers. He defends white supremacy. He deflects because I was asking, oh, really? So we don't live in a system of white supremacy? Steve, I'm going to put your first name out there. I'm not going to put your whole name out there. So why in 2006 did the government put out a report? This is always going to be my question to suspected and white supremacists. That the FBI put out a report saying that race soldiers, aka white supremacist groups, will infiltrate police departments. Why would they allow that if we don't live in a system of white supremacy? Well, let me ask you this. If you were a cop and there was a suspect running and he put his hands in his pocket, see, we getting into that. Let's change the subject. Let's deflect. Use time-wasting tactic talking points. That's why I don't talk to Europeans, because it's counterproductive. Pointless. And then this other so-called brother, I'm only saying so-called because he was schooling him a little bit, but he went all cold when he agreed with him, saying that black people can be racist, which is asinine. If you're a black person saying that, you're remedial, number one, and you need to look up the real term of racism because it's a system. Black people, we don't have a system where we can control white people's fate and destiny. Us calling you cracker, saying I hate you because you're white, that's bigotry, that's prejudice. We have no control over you economically. We don't control your education, your living conditions. We don't control police departments, any forms of government. We don't control that. White people do. There aren't any books called White Labor, Black Wealth. Why is that? Because we live in a system of white supremacy. There is no black supremacy. So when he comes into the plantation tomorrow, we're going to have a talk about that. Saying you never go off code and agree with white people. Because white people don't do that. White people know they be talking the most bullshit ever, but they will agree and go down to their grave agreeing with each other on their fuckery. When black people, we get in front of white people, well, I don't know about that, brother. I'm gonna have to agree with Massa on this one. I think you wrong with this one, boy. Let me get another butter biscuit, Massa. Like, we get to that bullshit. No. You stay on code. You never agree with a white person against a black person if you're black. Even if you know that nigga's wrong. Fuck that. Because white people don't do that. Except for Dr. Drew. And that's probably why he lost his show. That's another topic for another day. But yeah, you never do that. You never agree with a white person over a black person, and you never conspire with a white person against a black person. See, we don't have code. We need to stay on code. White people don't do that to each other. But let me end this video because it's pretty long. Get in the comments, like I said, subscribe, like, share the video.